Around 2:30 p.m., my phone vibrated with an alert. I was in the middle of a maintenance shift on the offshore platform, sustained only by lukewarm coffee and instinctive routines. Out of sheer boredom, I opened Instagram and immediately froze. Staring back at me was Cheryl's latest post. It featured an array of pink and blue balloons and a sparkly sign declaring, "Baby coming soon." The caption grabbed my attention. "Finally pregnant, 12 weeks. Time to lock this idiot down." She had tagged me. At first, I suspected a joke, but then reality sank in. I had been stationed offshore for the past 7 months. No breaks, no visits, just increasingly shorter calls each week. My last visit home was in January, and it was now August. 12 weeks pregnant meant May was the critical month, yet I was 300 miles away from shore at that time. The term idiot nearly made me laugh. My hands didn't betray me, but my jaw became tense. Instead of communicating with her directly, I commented on her post. "Interesting math, Cheryl." Then I put the phone down. My notification feed soon went wild. People began liking my comment, some inquiring about its meaning, while others started calculating the months. By the next refresh, Cheryl's post had garnered more attention than any of her previous ones. Attempts to erase it were futile. The internet moves faster than regrets do. The clinching moment came with the comment from her mother, Catherine. "So proud of you both. Paul will be such a great dad." Paul, my neighbor. Rather than anger, I experienced a cold detachment. I captured screenshots, saved them online, and set the phone aside, thinking that if she intended to lock someone down, she misjudged her choice. By the next morning, the situation had spiraled out of control, and though I hadn't responded further, everyone else had. Mutual friends tagged me across several platforms. Cheryl's post was eventually removed, but screenshots were circulating widely, appearing on Facebook, TikTok, and other obscure threads. When my sister Neera called, she skipped the pleasantries. "Dennis, have you seen her latest claim?" "What now?" I grumbled, weary of hearing her name. "She's posted a note. Apparently it was a typing error. She claims she meant 12 days pregnant, not 12 weeks, saying you were home 2 weeks ago for a surprise." I nearly chuckled. A plausible tale, if not for my 7-month absence. Her story of being pregnant by 12 days was as implausible as a fictional creation. An hour later, I checked her profile. There was her announcement, "Everyone is overreacting. It was a typo. I meant 12 days, not 12 weeks. Dennis was home recently, and I intended to surprise him. Stop spreading lies." The comments section was in disarray. Some accepted her explanation, most were skeptical. I refrained from responding, opting to simply document the post for safekeeping. Then came the spectacle of her live stream. I hadn't intended to watch, but Neera forwarded me the link with one instruction: just listen. Cheryl appeared in her car, feigning tears and speaking in a quivering voice. "He abandoned me," she sniffled. "He doesn't call, doesn't care. One caption error, and people attack me." Someone inquired about Paul, prompting her to hesitate momentarily before replying, "Paul supported me. A friend helped." And there it was, the telltale slip-up. The live chat erupted in questions. Did she just mention Paul? Who is he? The timeline still doesn't fit. Neera recorded the stream before Cheryl abruptly ended it. I refrained from interacting and instead submitted a request for early leave at the shift office. The supervisor took one glance at my expression and approved it without question. "Family emergency?" he asked. "Something like that," I replied. "I'd be home soon," and for once, I was eager for it. 2 days later, I disembarked from the transport van and made a direct path to my house. I didn't inform Cheryl of my arrival, preferring to encounter things as they truly were, not as she might stage them. Upon entering, the place was eerily quiet. No lights, no sign of Cheryl. I discarded my bag, settled onto the couch, and opened the smart lock application. I wanted unfiltered truth, and the logs didn't disappoint. Paul's name surfaced repeatedly, 3 to 4 times a week, often post 9 p.m., with extended visits. Cheryl's access history reflected a pattern of frequent use of her shared key, often accompanied by guest entries attributed to Paul. Verification from the door camera substantiated this, capturing instances of Paul arriving with groceries, sharing laughter, and at one point holding Cheryl's keys as though they were his own. I meticulously saved each video clip. As I combed through these files, my phone illuminated with a call from Catherine, Cheryl's mother. "Dennis, dear," she began, her tone dripping with sweetness. "Cheryl's beside herself. People are misconstruing things." I stayed silent. "She's frightened," Catherine continued. "You remember how solitary she felt. Please don't exacerbate this." I responded with a composed voice. "Catherine, she's 12 weeks pregnant, and my absence has been 7 months long." There was a lengthy pause before she released a tremulous sigh. "Mistakes do occur," she admitted. "Indeed," I agreed. "She indeed made one." I then ended the call. That evening, Cheryl didn't return. She opted to share another ambiguous online post instead. "True love finds its way back," she declared. "I'll be okay." Paul reacted with a heart emoji, signifying his support. I remained unresponsive. I resolved not to resort to anger, pleading, or public displays. My focus was on irrefutable facts, devoid of dissonance. Consequently, I reprogrammed the smart lock, revoking Cheryl's or any guest access, and arranged for a locksmith. This was not due to distrust in the digital system, but for a precautionary mechanical fallback, a deadbolt impervious to digital circumvention. Additionally, I organized a moving service to handle extraneous belongings, securing a storage unit in the city for the overflow. There would be no theatrics or mess, just orderly verification with receipts, emails, and timestamps. I aimed for resolution over spectacle. Before retiring for the night, I revisited the camera recordings. The final clip showed Paul unlocking the entrance with Cheryl following in good spirits. The timestamp read 10:46 p.m. from 2 nights prior. I turned off the device, set my alarm for 6 a.m., and resolved that tomorrow I would cease pretending ignorance. The apartment was still the next morning. Cheryl hadn't returned. The curtains billowed partially open, and a man's jacket, not mine, rested comfortably on the patio chair. An ultrasound photo was affixed to the fridge, held by a magnet proclaiming "Home Sweet Home." Delving into a bedroom drawer, I discovered a petite pink notebook, a pregnancy journal. Its initial entry read, "Missed period, told Paul. Announce at 12 weeks. Dennis won't suspect as long as I stay calm." I meticulously captured images of each page and returned the journal as I had found it. A knock interrupted my thoughts. The locksmith stood at the door. "Add a deadbolt," I instructed. "The smart lock is reset. I also want manual security." He nodded, tools clinking efficiently as he worked. The atmosphere shifted subtly as the locksmith departed, more silent, more secure. Not long after, the sound of footsteps and the faint jingle of keys echoed down the hall. Cheryl's voice followed, though muffled through the door. "Paul, grab the bags." I opened the door before she could, catching her off guard. Her face paled at the sight of me. "Dennis, you're home," she stammered. "It appears I am," I replied, leaning into the doorframe. Paul lingered behind her, clutching grocery bags, his demeanor vacillating swiftly from bewilderment to remorse. Cheryl attempted a shaky grin. "I planned to tell you," she claimed. I displayed my phone. 12 weeks, I stated. Silence hung heavy between us. The charade began, tears, a tremulous voice reciting rehearsed explanations. "You deserted me, Dennis, for ages. Do you even fathom what that does to someone? I was isolated." "Not wholly alone," I noted. "Your journal mentions telling Paul." Paul intervened, stepping forward. "Hey, man, Relax. She's pregnant. You can't just expel her. I met his gaze steadily. I'm not displacing a pregnant woman. I'm evicting two deceivers. Cheryl hastily grabbed her phone, exclaiming, I'm calling the police. Do that, I encouraged, stepping back. When the officers arrived, I presented the deed, utilities, and military deployment records. One officer, after perusing the documents, addressed Cheryl, Ma'am, legally, you have no right to remain here. Her emotional display intensified. Accusations of abuse and emotional distress poured forth. The officer sighed. You have 72 hours to vacate. Paul commented under his breath. This is insane. Indeed it is, I concurred. They departed amidst their disagreements. I fortified the newly secured door behind them and exhaled a relief long overdue. The following morning found Cheryl active online once more. Her narrative read, Some men can't shoulder responsibility. When they err, they shift blame onto others. Accompanying her post was an image of her tear-stained face in a car, the caption lamenting abandonment. I saw no need to respond. I had already moved past it. Images had already surfaced of her caption, her live stream, and the claim of being 12 weeks along. The web unraveled the story quicker than I could keep up. Neera sent a message advising me to stay silent as the comments were ripping her apart. Staying quiet was not a challenge. I sought peace, not vengeance. Yet Cheryl didn't let it go. She created a new account for a video post declaring, I was never treated right. He abandoned me at my lowest. Within the hour, a comment appeared. Girl, you said 12 weeks. He's been gone for 7 months. The replies flooded in, dismantling her narrative. Then Catherine reached out to me. Dennis, stop fueling this harassment. Cheryl is pregnant and needs support, she implored. My response was succinct. I didn't humiliate her. She did that herself. That led to her blocking me. That evening, Cheryl tried another tactic, legal threats. I received a ludicrous email demanding monthly support, health insurance, a public apology, and compensation for emotional distress. My company's legal team looked it over and the lawyer actually laughed. She's asking for support from a non-father she's not married to, who let her live rent-free. There's no substance here. 2 days on, the threat was retracted. The next morning, Neera helped me pack Cheryl's belongings into boxes. We moved silently through the rooms until every shelf and closet was bare. I opted to store everything rather than return it, wanting to avoid giving her any reason to return. As Neera departed, the apartment felt still for the first time in ages, silent, honest, and free from deceit. 4 months passed, and Neera texted me while I was on a short contract in Houston. It was a screenshot of Cheryl's latest post. He abandoned me, but I'm stronger now. My baby boy is everything, read the caption. The picture showed her smiling in a hospital bed with the baby, but Paul was noticeably absent. Where was the proud father? I wondered. Browsing through the comments, someone questioned his absence and Cheryl replied, We're figuring things out privately, which likely meant he was gone. 2 weeks later, Catherine called. I nearly ignored it, but my curiosity piqued. She started softly. Dennis, things might have gone wrong, but Cheryl is struggling financially. Could you help? My reply was firm. No. She hesitated before suggesting a small loan for the baby. It's not my baby, Catherine, I reiterated. There was a pause, followed by a subdued, I understand. Cheryl attempted to raise funds online with a sob story about her boyfriend abandoning her during pregnancy, but it only gathered $87 before being tied back to the original scandal. The fundraising page vanished shortly after. Paul faced his own fate. A local started a thread titled, Remember this guy? Complete with screenshots of him bragging about looking after Cheryl during my deployment, along with viral clips identifying him. By the next day, even his co-workers saw it. Office gossip morphed into persistent jokes at his expense, Clients raised eyebrows and management disliked the unwanted attention. A week later, his boss suggested he take time off. The damage to his reputation stemmed not from his actions in my home, but the fact that everyone discovered who owned it. He attempted a fresh start 2 towns over at a car dealership, but even there he was recognized from the memes. Cheryl moved back in with Catherine and arguments ensued. Neera overheard Cheryl venting to a friend, "He ruined my life." Whether she meant me or Paul was irrelevant to me. I learned an invaluable lesson from it all. Truth requires no clamor, it only requires time. Time had indeed done its work. By year's end, what once dominated my phone screen at 3 a.m. turned into an obscure internet joke. At a small barbecue Neera hosted, former co-workers came by chuckling about the initial post. One raised a glass to me, saying, "To Dennis, the man who showed calendars never lie." I simply smiled in response. It wasn't about victory, it was about closure. That night, I met Tara, a nurse who worked with Neera. She was familiar with the tale, but kept it lighthearted. "So you're the guy with the legendary comment?" she asked with a grin. "It seems so," I responded. We engaged in conversation for hours. There were no dramatics, no deceit, no ulterior motives, just straightforward dialogue. It felt refreshing. I had secured a new offshore job, with shorter work rotations this time, and relocated to a tidy apartment close to the port. The walls were bare. There was tranquility. A few weeks later, a message appeared on my phone. It was from Cheryl. "You ruined me," it read. I gazed at those words momentarily before replying with a single sentence. "No, Cheryl. It wasn't me. It was the calendar." After that, I blocked her number. I wasn't overcome with anger or any sense of triumph. Just a feeling of closure. Complete closure. I resumed my morning runs and enjoyed restful sleep at night. One evening, I revisited the memory of that initial post, the pink balloons, the forced smiles, the announcement that marked the beginning of it all. At last, pregnant. Time to tether this fool. At that time, she believed the post would ensnare me. Ultimately, it liberated me. The truth didn't require grand declarations, confrontations, or retribution. Merely arithmetic, a date, and silence. And that sufficed.